in a peaceful suburban neighborhood where all the houses look exactly the same, and secrets are usually buried deep. A young couple hired a babysitter. Her name was Mara. Polite, neat, and recommended by neighbors, whom no one remembered ever meeting. At first, everything seemed fine, until they checked the baby monitor. At exactly 2:33 a.m., their little son suddenly sat up in his crib and stared straight into the camera. No blinking, no movement, just staring. His eyes were blood red, glowing in the dark. They assumed it was the infrared mode, a device malfunction, until one morning, the puppy was lying dead in the kitchen corner. A ballpoint pen stabbed straight into its eye. The baby's shirt was stained with blood. But when they asked him, he simply smiled, gently, as if nothing had ever happened. From that day on, they started reviewing the footage more carefully. Mara always kept her door tightly shut. She always played lullabies. But if you listened closely, the music was playing in reverse. She drew strange circles on the floor, whispering a language no one understood. The child sat motionless. His eyes rolled back, completely white. They should have fired her or called the police, but like many busy adults, they only suspected in silence, and just like that, it was enough for the ritual to begin. That night, they came home earlier than expected. Mara didn't have time to hide anything. They saw her kneeling beside the crib, slicing the baby's hand with a knife, letting the blood drip onto a demonic symbol. Under the crib, an old box hissed, constantly whispering. The baby didn't cry, didn't move. He simply smiled. A gentle but twisted smile. They screamed, rushed into the room, but in the dark hallway, someone was already waiting. 4, maybe 5 strangers. They wore masks and said nothing. They just walked closer. The parents arriving home at that moment wasn't a coincidence. It was part of the setup. They were the final sacrifice. At the center of a circle, etched with an inverted star, the child sat. On both sides, 2 basins, holding the horrified faces of his mother and father. The hooded figures circled around them, chanting. No scream lasted long. The next morning, the police found only ashes in the backyard, an empty crib, and no trace of Mara or the child. A few weeks later, neighbors said they saw the boy again. Same face, same shrill laugh. But whenever no one was around, he would turn his head and stare straight into the surveillance camera, eyes glowing red, and a smile far too wide, sharp as a blade. That child was no longer a child. He belonged to another force. And those people, they're still out there, still taking care of new children. Legends tell of balloons, waterlogged and twisted, bearing the faces of the drowned, forever haunting those who abandoned them. Emily walked alone, her eyes heavy with guilt, her hand occasionally touching her wrist as if remembering something lost. The sky was gloomy, filled with anxious clouds. The balloon, waterlogged and twisted, bore the face of Sarah, a long-lost friend of Emily's. The face on the balloon constantly shifted, distorting with blank white eyes. Water dripped from the noose-like string in the dim light. Emily froze as the balloon descended. Sarah's face was bleeding, water dripping from her mouth in a sinister smile. Her heart pounded. She sprinted through the park, glancing back. The waterlogged balloon pursued her, the face on the balloon, now her own, grotesquely distorted with guilt. She sprinted through the park, glancing back. The waterlogged balloon pursued her, the face on the balloon, now her own, grotesquely distorted with guilt. She stopped, gasping for breath. Space twisted around her. A chilling, watery AIR washed over her. The balloon faded into the distance, the sound of dripping water lingering. A whisper echoed, "You let me die." The balloon drew closer, the face on it cracking, water and blood oozing out. Memories flooded back. Emily saw her friend reaching for a red balloon on the river, being swept away by the current while she, terrified, ran away. The balloon drifted farther on the dark water. Back in the present, she rushed towards the abandoned building, shoving the rotting wooden doors open, hoping to find a way out of the haunting balloon. Outside, the balloon hovered at the doorway, the sound of the noose-like string screeching. Behind her, the balloon swelled, its cracked face oozing water and blood. In the empty space, the balloon's ghostly laughter echoed. Emily ran up the stairs of the old building, the ancient structure blurring light and shadow. He uses low and high pitches to express emotional changes. Sarah's ghost in a soaked white dress, holding the red balloon, followed close behind her, accompanied by the sound of dripping water. The balloon whispered in her ear that she couldn't escape. The balloon whispered in her ear that she couldn't escape. Fumbling through the decaying old building, she stumbled into a room with mirrors. She saw her reflection, grinning sinisterly. The balloon exploded with a deafening bang, red fragments raining down like droplets of water. In that instant, Emily's consciousness shattered, pulling her into a surreal, cracked space. Emily drifted through a stream of memories. She recalled the day of Sarah's death, when Sarah reached for a red balloon and was swept away by the dark current. Unable to swim, she stayed on the shore, fearfully running away, leaving Sarah and the balloon to drift farther into the water. "You left me alone in the rushing water. You let me die with that balloon." Sarah repeated the haunting phrase in her ear. Emotions surged within Emily. She screamed and collapsed to her knees. Beside her, Sarah's image dissolved, her memories and herself thrown into a storm-like vortex, torn apart by the howling wind. Amidst the tearing storm, Emily remembered the happy memories of her and Sarah tying balloons together at a festival. Sarah smiled gently and told her that she wanted to see her happy. Emily broke free from the vortex of thoughts, guilt, and shame, thanks to the beautiful memories she and Sarah had created. She looked in the mirror. The image reflected back, encouraging her, telling herself that she had to keep living. She stepped out of the old building into the pale, golden sunlight. She stood tall, her eyes resolute with the thought that she could leave the past guilt behind in that old building. On the empty street, Emily saw Sarah's face again on a colossal, waterlogged balloon with blank white eyes, waiting for her at the end of the street. It wasn't truly letting her go. She walked on, the whispers of why, from Sarah echoing. The screen faded to black,